Hey, welcome to Cash Flow Hacks Podcast. This is Chris, your host, and with me today is Stephanie, my co-host.
Hello. I am so happy to be here with everyone else who's ready to make more, save more, and live more now.
Every week, Stephanie and I are going to be sharing strategies that your financial advisor doesn't want you to know. And why is that? Because the less you know, the more they make, and we want to help you flip that script.
Right. So this week, we're going to be talking about why a checkbook IRA could be the answer for your retirement account. So Chris, I'm just going to ask you the basic question. What exactly is a checkbook IRA?
Okay. I'll try to make this simple. It really is pretty simple, but a self-directed IRA, it owns an LLC, which is the only thing that it owns. Your IRA owns your LLC that you're the manager of. And the reason why we like to use an LLC is because it's a business entity that is a cross between a corporation and a partnership. And it's basically the perfect investment vehicle for your IRA. There's no tax returns to file, nor are there any meetings or minutes or resolutions that are required. Annual reporting is dependent on what state you set the LLC up in.
So some states might be a little more difficult, some states a little more easy depending. Okay, that's good to know.
Exactly. We do set them up in all 50 states. And like I said, your IRA is going to own 100% of the LLC. So it makes it a flow-through tax entity. And what does that mean? It means basically you as the owner or the IRA pays the taxes. The LLC won't pay any taxes. And because it's the LLC that's liable. But in this case, the owner is your IRA. So since it's an LLC and it's earned profits, but they pass through to the IRA, there's not going to be any taxes until you start taking your IRA distribution. So I don't know. I love this. And it's really cool that your IRA it only has one investment, and that one investment is your IRA.
The LLC.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I said that backwards. And this LLC, it can own however many assets it wants to.
Right. So it makes things really clean and simple. You have a checkbook IRA. Your checkbook IRA owns one thing, the LLC that you set up. And then your LLC can invest in a lot of different things. And the cool thing is you have that control because you're the manager of your LLC.
Exactly.
Wow, that's really cool. So tell me a little bit more.
Well, the LLC, it does all the investing so that you have full control over all the investment decisions. However, there are some guidelines that you have to follow.
Naturally.
But you pretty much have broad authority over, what you invest in, except for there are laws. You can't invest in life insurance.
Okay.
Or collectibles, or you can't buy your family or invest in your family business. You have, those are the only things that you have to do.
But in comparison to a traditional or a Roth IRA that can only invest in the stock market, you've just opened up to a broad variety of different investment choices.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And so now, and this is where I had a problem actually, because I've had a self-directed IRA for quite some time now, but the checkbook IRA makes it so much easier. Because for myself with this custodian that I was using it takes forever. If you want to invest in something, they have to approve it. Then you have to call them and you have to wait on them to send a check. And it's time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes it so much easier. I work with a lot of people that use different self-directed IRAs, and it seems like there's always an issue. But my clients never have an issue when it comes to investing in some of the different opportunities that we're able to present to them.
And why is that?
Because the custodian of the investments, how to say this? Because the way it's written in the documents, basically you've been given, because you're the manager, you have the permission to be able to invest in whatever it is that you want to invest in.
So you no longer need to contact or notify the custodian.
Exactly.
You can just do it. That's amazing. That is a time saver.
It is. You have no idea. Having a traditional self-directed IRA, I say traditional self-directed. I know I'm always saying traditional, but traditional self-directed, they're cool. They're great to have. They're a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. But we just don't want to confuse the traditional IRA with what you're saying is a traditional self-directed IRA.
Right.
So let's, instead of saying traditional, say the common self-directed IRA.
The common self-directed. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah.
That's why I keep you around.
Yeah. Always here to help. Okay. So this checkbook IRA has become very popular with what type of investors?
It's been really popular with real estate investors and tax lien buyers. And like I mentioned a minute ago, for myself, I've invested in real estate with my common, my common self-directed. And anytime there's an issue, if there's a plumbing issue, we always have to wait for a check to come in from the custodian. And now that I have the checkbook IRA, it is so nice because now there's a problem. I have access to the checkbook and I can just write a check right straight to the plumber.
That's nice.
Nobody I need to talk to about it.
So like as the manager of the LLC, can you open a business locally?
You can open the checking account locally, yes, and write checks. And I'm always talking about opportunities. When opportunities arise, you can make an immediate decision fast, because sometimes when an opportunity arrives, if you don't have the money right away, you lose out.
Yeah.
And so this changes that. So I love it. It gives you more immediate control to your IRA funds. And
as long as there's no self-dealings.
Right. Exactly.
It's legal.
Yes.
Cool. So is this something new? Has it been around for a while?
It's been around since 1996, but until recently, it's mostly been used with real estate investors.
So Chris, how exactly does it work if somebody wants to, get started with a self-directed checkbook IRA? Sorry.
Well, there's a few steps. I guess you could say 7 steps. Well, what happens is they end up transferring or rolling over their IRA, their old IRAs that they have, and they move them into a self-directed custodian that we use specifically because they can have a checkbook access.
And it can be a Roth or a traditional that rolls over?
Correct.
Okay.
Number 2 is the company we work with, the lawyers that we work with, they form a single member LLC, which your IRA is actually 100% owner. Then the custodian names you as the manager in the operating agreement, and then the LLC starts doing the investments now.
So the IRA is not doing the individual investments. The LLC is doing the investing.
Exactly.
Very important stuff.
Yes,
Okay, awesome.
yes.
And then what's the next step?
Like you just said, as the manager, you have instant and total control of the LLC, and all the profits are owned by your IRA. So generally, there's no tax returns to be filed. And as a manager, like we mentioned before, there is an operating agreement that allows you to invest in what you want to invest. And
so as a quick little side note, for those listeners that don't know, when we talk about flow through, what we mean is if you have an LLC and it has revenue, then the revenue comes in, you subtract out your expenses, and what's left over is your profit. And instead of paying taxes at the company level, it quote unquote flows through to the owner. So if you were to have an LLC and you were the owner, then on your social security number, you would pay taxes. But what we're trying to say here is that the IRA is now the owner. And so the LLC does not have to file taxes. I hope that made sense. Anyway, go on.
Yes. And the operating agreement, since it allows you to invest in whatever you want, there's no chasing. You don't have to chase down the custodian to find out if it's okay, if it's an okay investment, because you already have permission. Now, the bank accounts, you're allowed to open them wherever you want because you're the manager. And you're managing the assets and the rentals. And what is this going to do for you? It's going to eliminate transaction fees that the common self-directed IRA is. You're not going to have to pay all those transaction fees that always happen, and they take forever. Now you can make decisions very quickly. Lightning speed. And, this is, as a real estate investor, this is very, very important, and it's very helpful that we don't have to worry about any of that and have to wait for it.
Yeah, the instant control has made these types of IRAs very popular with real estate investor, trust deed, note buyers, and tax lien investing, which is all things we talk about. So
Correct.
yeah.
And the different opportunities that we have. So that saves you a lot of money. People don't realize how much money that they're actually spending in their IRAs.
Yeah.
What the fees are with our IRAs.
And we talk about it with 401ks too. Oh, those fees can really add up.
Yes, they can. So not only is this going to save you time, but it's also going to save you some money.
So if you want to benefit more from your IRA, tell me again how that's possible.
Well, I know a lot of people that are afraid of what's happening with the stock market right now. They don't want to ride that roller coaster anymore. They're tired of it, and they have a lot of money just sitting in cash. And whether that's in their accounts, their retirement accounts, or in their bank accounts. So this just gives them more options, more than Wall Street. And then if somebody likes to buy real estate, tax liens, like you just said, precious metals.
Yeah, gold, silver.
Yep, they can do this because a lot of times, a lot of the custodians are too limited. And I found that with the custodian that I actually had my money with. So I'm so thankful that I found this. Also, like we just said, the money, they're slow. They cost a lot, and we want speed and control.
Yes, speed and control.
We want unlimited investment options. What did I say we can't invest in?
Life insurance, collectibles, and certain family members. But you can invest in anything else and with anyone else, right? You're not just limited to what the custodian offers.
Right, exactly. So, and if you have a need for speed, like me,
Christy, you're always going. So yeah, having that total authority to instantly approve all investments and write checks and sign other documents necessary for investments just like right away. That is just imperative, especially if you want to take advantage of opportunities as they fall on your desk. So you'll be eliminating hassle and saving time as well as money and being able to take advantage of opportunities.
Also, another thing is if you have real estate, a lot of times you have to pay management. You have to pay management fees. You have to meet up with, just imagine if you could meet up with your renters, collect the rents, and make the repairs and improvements without having to have somebody else do it.
Oh, yeah. Or having to pay out of pocket and waiting for that check, right? Hasn't that happened to you a time or two?
It's happened quite a few times, actually. Especially if there's ever plumbing issues. And it's not like you can wait on a plumbing issue till you get the check.
You have to take care of it. You have to take care of your tenant, right? Chris, you said something about you're able to combine the accounts, all accounts?
Well, if you have old IRAs, and I mean, I've had clients that have come with 4 or 5 different old IRAs, and yes, they can combine them and put them into like a traditional account, or later on, if they want to take advantage of the backdoor Roth, they can turn it into a Roth. And then if they have old Roth IRAs, they can move them all into one.
But you can move a traditional or a Roth into this checkbook IRA, though, correct?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. And okay, so we can combine accounts. We have control. We have speed. We're able to save on annual fees. We've got local banking freedom, right?
Correct.
I mean, this just sounds better and better the more you tell me about it, Chris.
Well,
right?
It's easy and it's actually quite inexpensive. The setup is a little bit, but it's worth the headache of anything else that you have out there. And like I said, most of the time, there's no tax returns to file, no minutes or officers, or there's no voting. Bookkeeping is, at a minimum. And it's nice because now you can invest in what you know. Do you have an area of expertise? Like you'll no longer be able to only invest in the stock market. You got real estate, loans, joint ventures, partnerships. Those are just some of the opportunities that await our listeners.
Yeah. Okay. So we've been talking about all the good, right? But there's got to be a little bit of ugly. What's not allowed? What do we know that we can't do? What's off limits?
Well, like I said, the rules are pretty simple, but they are super important. We've already talked about it a little bit, but we'll hit on it again. There are disqualified investments, disqualified persons, disqualified companies and entities that we cannot invest in.
Okay. What are disqualified investments? Let's start with that one.
Well, a few minutes ago, you actually talked about it. And these aren't just rules that are just like made up by the Checkbook IRA company. These laws come from ERISA, which is like the Employee Retirement Income Security Act. These rules say that we cannot invest in life insurance or collectibles. They're prohibited.
Right.
And then there is another law that says that you can't invest. It's another law. I forgot what the law is. You know me. Those little things. It's like, all I know is it's very simple. You just need to not do this, this, and this.
Okay.
Or you
So the
cannot
first one
invest.
was don't invest in disqualified investments. The second one is don't invest in disqualified people. Who are disqualified people?
Well, we can't. So the disqualified people are people that are related to us, lineal descendants, or our spouses, or I can't invest in my own or my husband's partners, persons that are related to us, grandparents, grandchildren, children, spouses. I mean, anybody that is related to us by blood, we are not allowed to invest in them specifically.
Okay.
They're off limits. I mean, that really is not difficult. It's just though they are not there's lots of ways around it though.
What do you mean? What ways around it?
There's ways around it because in our community, we know a lot of people that have self-directed, self-managed IRAs.
Mm-hmm.
We can invest in their projects. They can invest in our projects.
Mm.
So, and we're not blood related. So I'm just saying there's a lot of ways to handle this.
Okay.
Say your child has a self-directed or self-managed IRA.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it, but I can.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there's ways to make these projects. No, what do I want to call them? Make these opportunities work.
Okay. So if somebody has a very specific question about that, I would suggest that they reach out to you and have a personalized conversation because you want to explain to them step by step how to do that.
Right.
Okay. Now, can you give me some examples of disqualified companies, entities? What do you mean by that?
Well, these companies that are owned or controlled by the disqualified people we just talked about. If any one or more disqualified person owns 50% or more of an entity, then that entity is actually prohibited. It sounds more complicated than it is. Just if you have a family,
can't invest in your son and you can't invest in your son's business.
Correct.
Pretty much. Okay.
Just stay away from them. And when they work with us.
Yeah, what's included when someone comes and gets a Checkbook IRA through CT Consulting and their partner?
Yeah, we have our partner that we work with is amazing. I've been working with them for a while now. They are who I got all my self-managed Checkbook IRA set up through. And they have helped so many of my clients. And so what they're going to do is they will assist you in establishing the self-directed IRA and with the new custodian. They're going to assist you with transfers or rollovers of old accounts. And they're going to make sure that the name that you choose for your LLC
is available.
That is available.
Mm-hmm.
And, they just make sure that there's no trademark conflicts with that. And then also they're going to help you prepare. Actually, don't help you. They do it. They prepare and file the articles of organization to form the LLC so that you are the manager, so that all the wording is set up properly so it never comes back at you. There are a lot of companies out there that say that they do this, but have been a lot of issues with people not having the right wording in their documents.
So they prepare a proprietary customized operating agreement.
Exactly.
That's IRS compliant.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
Cool.
So you don't want to just go out there and go to anybody that says they do Checkbook IRAs, because there are some people out there. But if you want to make sure that you're compliant and that it's done properly, you want to deal with somebody that's been doing this a long time. And the company that I work with has been doing this since the very beginning.
Awesome. And you said, they can do some other things as well. Why don't you tell me about those?
Well, they're also going to set up the subscription and membership documents to make sure that your LLC is funded correctly. They're going to secure a federal tax ID, or that's called an EIN for your LLC, which lists the IRA as the owner. They're also going to assist you in opening up a bank account for the LLC and answer any questions that your banker may pose.
And that's so helpful.
Oh my gosh, it is so helpful because it is, a lot of people don't even know about this. They've never heard of it. So,
and they get nervous when their banker starts asking questions.
Yep. So that's one of the things that I absolutely love about the company is that they are so in tune with the clients and they make sure that they help them all the way through. I've had a lot of older clients come in that have no clue what they're doing, and they've been able to help them.
Wow.
Actually get it taken care of. And so you can call them, you can talk on the phone anytime you have questions, they're always there.
That's amazing. That is so important. That customer service, I mean, it really differentiates the one company from another.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for that, Chris. I mean, I learned so much about Checkbook IRAs today. You answered so many questions, all of mine. But, like always, I end with asking whether or not we answered all of the questions from the listeners. We do want to hear from you. What do you wish you knew more about? Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast and ask in the review, and we will answer you. Or you can ask on our Facebook page. We want to answer all of your questions.
Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in. Join our Facebook group, Cash Flow Hacks, and follow our Facebook page, CQ Consulting Services and Chris Quintana. And thank you so much for listening. On our next episode, I'm going to be interviewing Garrett Gunderson. Some of you may know who he is. He is the author of New York Times bestseller, Killing Sacred Cows, and you don't want to miss this. So check in and we'll see you next time.
Bye.